Well, good evening. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening. And this really is hot off the press, breaking news. I went down today to support a friend of mine, Ty King, who's got King's Inc. Tattoo Parlor in Fenland Falls, Ontario. And he was paid a visit by the health department. This is the second visit. And anyway, a group of his friends went down. We videoed the whole thing. It was actually unbelievable. In reviewing the video afterwards, wow, what a group of people. And this is what you have to do to save some of these businesses, is to support your friends and neighbors in their fight against tyranny. Okay, so I won't make this too long, but you can see the sincerity of the people who are in the room, except for the health inspector, who plays the slippery eel at every opportunity. He openly threatens Ty. He threatens the public. He plays this, 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100 game with the regulations, saying you've got to review the regulation. Saying first you have to review the regulations as a complete piece of work, and saying that individual things don't matter, and then picking out individual things and saying it. I mean, like, it's just insane. These people are in an indefensible position, and I do believe after threatening the public like this openly and really denying that there is an exemption, when well, you can see in the video, the video speaks for itself. And if you're a business owner in this situation, I know it's a bit long, but I would recommend that you watch this video, because it will give you an idea of the sort of thing that you are going to face, the sort of games these people play. And you can see how the bullying crept in very quickly. He's trying to get onto Ty all the time, because you can see Ty is just a gentle soul, and you will probably see some of the frustration creep into my voice as I'm confronting Richard. But this is the kind of thing that we have to do. And so I won't take up any more of your time. I'll sign off at the same time. And so this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening. And please like, comment, subscribe, share if you enjoyed this video. And in the meantime, we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye. So here we are at the King's Inc. Tattoo Parlor, and we're waiting for a visit from the health inspector, because somebody complained about Ty not being masked, even though he has an exemption. And so we are going to ask the health inspector some questions when he arrives. Okay, you're the manager?
Yep.
Okay, I'm Steve.
Richard.
And I will be the agent for Ty.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So we just want to go through, first of all, these exemptions, because Ty has an exemption. Now, you will admit these are on your website, the HKPO. Well, that's where I got them.
Okay.
Okay. So it says who is exempt from this instruction. And it says, okay, no, wait a minute.
Can we?
No, because you're here under false pretenses. He has an exemption from a mask. He doesn't have to wear a mask, and he doesn't have to tell you why.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm his agent.
Are you a lawyer?
So I want you to explain to me. I want you to explain to me. Okay, a person refers to any customer, patron, employee, or visitor who enters the premises. Ty is an employee. He's self-employed.
Okay. First of all, I don't give any consent for any recording in here.
Well, sorry.
Okay.
This is a private business.
Okay, so
You have no
you
authority.
can record if you want, but I'm not giving you consent to share any information that you record.
This is a public place, and the owner has given us
Do you
permission.
understand?
We understand.
Okay, thank you.
We have permission from the owner.
Do you have a room where we can talk privately?
Right here is where we're going to talk.
It is fine.
Okay. Are you a lawyer?
I am the agent.
Okay, so what I will ask you to do is contact our legal. You can have that discussion with our legal, okay?
So I'm having it with you, because you're here, you're their representative. I'm having the discussion with you.
So,
No, you're going to stay right here.
I just wanted to, because I brought some information that I highlighted.
Well, I want you to help. I want you to explain. Ty has an exemption. Are you saying that he doesn't have an exemption?
What I'm saying is the exemption that's identified in the act, in the regulation, applies to clients that are coming in. When you have operators, the operators fall under the section of the regulation that specifically indicates that they must wear protection.
Employee.
Let me finish.
It says employee. What does that word mean, employee?
They
This
must,
is included in the extension. Ty is an employee of his own business. What's so hard to explain here?
I think it's going to be a little bit easier if we walk through the process, okay?
Well, no, you have to explain this first.
Okay.
We haven't got past the foundational as to where you think you have some authority, because this
Here's
takes
the
away your
foundation.
authority.
It doesn't take away anything. Let's- Sir, can you stop talking and listen?
No,
Please.
because you're trying to move on to the second part, and we haven't got past the first part.
No, the first
Tell me
part-
why Ty is not exempt.
I'll explain it to you as I go through the act, okay?
Be quick, make your point. No, really, you haven't explained this yet. This is on your website, it's on there today. Okay, I checked this morning before I left. Ty is exempt from wearing a mask, and you're not allowed to ask him why he's not allowed to why he doesn't want to wear a mask. It says right here. Look, here I photocopied these off so that you can go through them.
Okay. So what we're dealing with here with is both, in fact, come over here so I can actually see. We're dealing with the act and the regulation, okay? So first of all, you have decided to work in a regulated industry, right?
Long before COVID existed.
Right. And unfortunately, the regulations that apply to this industry at this time is not only the personal service settings and the Health Protection and Promotion Act, but it's also the Reopening Act and the respective regulations under that, okay? So anybody that wants to continue operating a business has to comply with all regulations that are applicable.
Okay, are you telling me these are not your regulations?
That's not a regulation.
This is on your website.
I'm gonna go through the regulation.
These are the exemptions that are on your website.
Sir, can you just let me finish?
Well,
Let me go through the process. You keep on jumping in,
Well, because
interrupting
you
me.
won't
I find
answer
that
this basic
I
question.
actually find that kind of rude
Why
and
isn't
disrespectful.
that on your website?
It is.
No, okay, hold on. So you're finding this rude. But me having PTSD, not being able to wear a mask because I have a condition, and you forcing regulations down my throat, and basically saying that if I don't comply, that maybe I should just close shop, that's not rude? How do I feed my kids?
So, Ty, the reason why we came here today is to talk about how we can make things work. What kind of protection that you can wear. And what I got here is I came in and we got ambushed by
This is my family. Because I have PTSD.
Okay. Yeah.
It's almost like, somebody having a service dog.
Mhm.
This is my service family.
Okay.
I feel so, after the way we had a discussion with them too, I was traumatized. I honestly am still shaking from it. I don't know if you guys have ever suffered from PTSD and how hard it is to deal with on an everyday basis.
Mhm.
Okay, like you guys are probably gonna send a text message through Bell Let's Talk here on Friday, right? Like, come on, this is mental health, right?
I'm not,
This is about mental health, and I can't wear one because I have PTSD. I just can't. And now, you basically forcing regulations down my throat, almost saying like, too bad. But we live in a world where mental health is supposed to be paramount for everyone's health. The health unit, right? That's what you belong with, right? You
Yeah.
belong to
Oh,
the
yeah.
health unit. Okay, so I'm talking about mental health. This is health.
absolutely.
These exemptions override that. These exemptions will be in the Act too.
They are, and I'm getting to it.
Good.
Okay? I just wanted to kind of clearly lay out.
So let's get to the exemption part.
Well, let's
No, let's get to the exemption part, please.
let's get through all of the parts that...
No, we don't need to do that. Get to the exemption part's the important part, because the exemptions are the qualifiers.
You can't run until you start walking,
Look,
right?
Can you just read the exemptions, please?
No, I'm gonna walk you guys through the act and the regulation. We'll get to
You
the
already showed up
exemptions.
late. This man has appointments booked. You showed up late for an appointment that you booked. Now cut to the chase, and please just read the exemptions, because that's all we want to know, whether the exemptions apply, because if the exemptions apply, the rest of the regulations don't count.
I don't think that's how it works.
If you have an exemption, the mask mandate doesn't count. That's what it says right here.
Let's get to the exemptions, but before we do, all of the orders that are issued currently are applicable under this act, okay? It's identified in here. What I did for you is I pulled out the important parts, and I also got you a copy of the regulations. So you can take your time, go through it, so you're not stressed, you're not rushed. You know, I can't change how you're going to behave, how you're going to address things. But all I can say is, whatever path you choose, there's going to be consequences.
Okay, thank you.
Positive
Can you please read the
or
exemption?
negative.
Can you please read the exemptions?
Sure. I'm not talking to you. I'm
There's
talking to Karen.
definitely
He's the
gonna be
one.
consequences.
He's the one at the end of the day who's going to be operating this
Well,
business.
we understand that. We got that. Read the exemptions, please.
Okay. So before I get to the exemptions, like I said, I wanted to make sure you
We
understand.
understand.
Under the act,
Please read the exemptions.
the order under this act, 702 or 71 of the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act, have not been revoked and are continued as valid and effective orders under this act, and cease to be in order under the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act. So all of those parts are still ongoing. The subject matter referred to in clause 2A are the following: closing or regulating any place where public or private, including any business, office, school, hospital, or establishment or institution, or 2, providing for rules or practices that relate to the workplace or management. So the act identifies what needs to be done in order for you to be able to operate, if the regulation allows you to operate, okay?
Richard, can you please get
I'm
to
getting there.
Okay, please get to the exemptions. We're waiting. You were late. He's got an appointment booked.
So provision applying with respect to the orders. The Emergency Civil Protection Act continue to apply. There's some modifications that are involved in it. And the reference in paragraph 1, subsection 701 of the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act to the emergency is deemed to be referenced to be the COVID-19 pandemic and its effects. In here, there's some enforcement section that I think you should be looking at to make sure that you understand what non-compliance may result.
What we would like to do is
I'm
hear the
getting
exemptions.
there.
Please get to the exemptions. We're waiting.
Sir,
You just keep going. We already know this stuff. Please
obviously
read
you
the
don't, because
exemptions.
I think you're making light of a very serious situation here.
Please read the exemptions.
Exemption is an exemption.
Not necessarily.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So, first, the general compliance section of the regulation, which is getting to the exemptions. But first, the person responsible for the business organization that is open shall ensure that the business organization operates in accordance with all applicable laws, including the Occupational Health and Safety Act.
Including exemptions, yeah? Yeah.
Person responsible for a business or organization that is open shall operate the business organization in accordance with the advice, recommendations, and instructions of public health officials, including any advice, recommendations, or instructions on physical distancing, cleaning, and disinfecting. Person responsible for the business organization that is open shall operate the business organization in compliance with the advice, recommendation, instructions issued by the Office of the Chief Medical Officer of Health or by the Medical Officer of Health. Okay? Medical officer of health means a medical officer of health as defined in subsection 1.1 of the Health Protection Promotion Act. Person responsible for the business organization that is open shall ensure that any person in the indoor area of the premise of the business organization or in a vehicle that is operating as part of a business organization wears a mask or a face covering in a manner that covers their mouth, nose, or chin during a period when they're in the indoor area, unless, this is where your exemption comes into play.
Advice and recommendations.
Unless the person in the indoor area, and then it gives your exemptions. Child who is younger than 2 years, is attending a school, is attending a child care program, is receiving residential services and support in residence listed in the definition of residential services,
Why are my fucking kids wearing a mask at school then?
is in correctional institution, is performing or rehearsing a film or television production, has a medical condition that inhibits their ability to wear a mask or face
There you
covering,
go. It's the same as in here. Can't wear a
is
mask. He has
unable
an
to put on a
exemption.
mask or face covering, needs a temporary remove their mask or face covering in an indoor area, to receive service that requires the removal of their mask or face covering, or to engage in an athletic activity.
Well, I think we've heard enough because you just said it.
We haven't, because let me continue.
Oh, please.
Because obviously you missed some.
I've heard enough literal nonsense. Me personally, I've heard enough.
We
literal
just gave the
nonsense.
exemption if they have a medical exemption.
Nonsensical mumbo
It says
jumbo.
right there.
The person-
Let it be known that
Did
here
you
in
not just
Canada,
say
yes,
that there's a
there
medical
are free
exemption?
citizens.
You actually also said too for children in school. So explain to me how my fucking kid's gotta wear a mask in school. You're sorry, pardon my French. Actually, you know what?
So
You're a coward, just like I.
show me. It says right there.
Come here.
It says right here. If you have medical exemption.
Under the same section below, okay? Person responsible for a business organization shall ensure that every person who performs work, and here's the difference. The person that's working, okay, for the business organization and whose mask or face covering is temporarily removed to consume food or drink, under subsection subclause 4, 1 sub 3 is separate from every other person by a distance of 2 meters or a plexiglass. More importantly, for greater certainty, person shall wear, this is for staff, person shall wear appropriate personal protective equipment that provides protection of the person's eyes, nose, and mouth. In the course of providing services, the person is required to come within 2 meters of another person who's not wearing a mask or face covering in a manner that covers the person's mouth,
So
nose,
we
and
get
chin.
this.
Hang on,
Richard, listen to me.
Sir,
Listen,
let me-
Richard,
no,
listen to
no,
me.
no. I listened to you, sir.
Right here, okay, what you're reading here is all things that apply. If you don't have an exemption, you just said on the other side, if you have a medical exemption, you don't have to wear a mask. It says that, right? Does it, you read that out. It's on the video, you read that out. It's,
That's it. If you have a medical exemption,
yeah. Ty does have a medical
you don't
exemption.
have to wear a mask if you're coming into a business, okay? And this is where I'm getting to. So the difference here is here's a section for people that are operating the businesses, okay?
So
And
what's
that's
the difference though? What makes someone walking in and me different?
The big difference is
Well, like
you're
I'm
also covered
the only
under.
one that can carry COVID.
No. You're
I'm the
you're
only
covered-
one that's a threat to this society because I own a business. Does that make sense to you?
Listen, whether it makes
No,
sense or
please,
it
does that
doesn't.
make see? So it doesn't make sense. Why are you
that.
enforcing bullcrap that doesn't make sense?
Tyler.
If it
So-
doesn't make sense, why are you
So,
pushing?
as an owner of a business, you fall under not only the requirements of this regulation, but also under the requirements of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So this section here refers to the requirements of a business operator. Okay? The exemptions that I read prior to that refer to public coming into businesses.
So basically, if you own a business, Nothing.
You
They don't
can't have
care.
an exemption.
They don't care about
Yeah.
you.
So it's not
The
that.
government doesn't care about
Listen.
business owners, is what you're saying. That's what I read. That's what I
Tyler, the reason why I came here today is I came in out of goodwill to try and come up with some different options
Okay.
that we could come to.
I have a couple options
Okay.
that I would like to
And,
speak
I'm
on.
really disappointed with me coming in here, and I really feel like I've been ambushed in here instead of having a.
I almost couldn't come in here today without them. I almost couldn't make it. When you guys left that day, I left right after you because I was puking. I couldn't take it. I'm telling you, if you guys have ever suffered from PTSD, you would know what I'm talking about. I almost couldn't make it in here. When I talked to my,
Okay,
I love
so
you
listen,
guys.
okay,
I was crying on the phone. I almost couldn't walk in here.
Hold on a sec. This is the qualifier right here. The person responsible for the business or organisation that is open shall ensure that any person in the indoor area of the board, he's any person in the indoor area, and he is exempt. This is who these exemptions apply to. He has a medical exemption. Are you going to uphold your own regulations, or are you just going to be partisan and uphold the regulations that you think you want to uphold? Because this will go to human rights. You are completely out of your depth here. Okay? Ty has a medical exemption. Tell me he hasn't. Tell me he hasn't, and tell me this exemption doesn't apply to him.
I don't know Ty's situation. I know what Ty mentioned, that he's got PTSD.
Well, you shouldn't have to know either, that's
And-
fine.
You're right.
So he's
I
exempt.
just share it.
I have an
He's
exemption.
exempt, and he just had to tell you.
I'm sharing it with you because I'm trying to be honest and fair. And
So Ty, the whole intent of me coming here is so we could come up with some options on how can we operate here with you still meeting the regulations and still able to operate,
okay, well, you tell me what I can do without strapping anything to my face.
right? So you indicated that you had some options.
Okay.
What are the options?
I would like, I don't want to ugly up my door any more than I have to. I wouldn't mind if this is okay with, I think this is fair. Put on the door, enter at your own risk, mask-free facility. That way, I only tattoo adults here. I only tattoo adults. And I feel adults should be able to make their decision at that door, whether they want to step foot in here or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not something that complies with the regulations.
Right. Okay, but
Exactly, so it doesn't
this is
matter,
not going to
right?
get
So-
started
so
because,
here's-
look, we haven't discussed the exemptions.
An exemption.
You keep pretending that there are no exemptions, Richard, and there are exemptions, aren't there? There are exemptions,
What-
aren't there, Richard?
There is.
Yes, and those exemptions are a medical exemption, and it applies to owners, patrons, customers. It doesn't matter. Ty,
It does matter.
It does not.
It does
It
matter
does not.
because the
It
owner
says
of the
so.
business,
It says so right here.
obviously, you read the section that you want to read and you highlight the sections that you want to highlight, but you're completely
But
missing
so
the
do
other
you though.
sections.
It's right
No, no,
here.
I read.
No, but you
I walked
skipped
through
over
the whole.
I know, listen, I listened to what you read. But listen, you're focusing on the regulation where I have to wear a mask no matter what.
Yeah.
And you're
There's
focusing on that part.
exemptions.
He's focusing on the
Medical
mask
condition that
exemption.
inhibits the ability to wear
I'm
a
not a
mask or
lawyer.
face covering.
I don't think you're a lawyer either. So if you're going to be.
The point is,
No, 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 no,
you're
no,
trying
no.
to uphold regulations, and you're missing out this crucial foundational piece of information.
I'm not
If you
missing
have a
anything.
medical exemption, you don't have to wear a mask, and no one has to give you any reason why. That's in your own regulations. Okay, so tell me,
Okay.
how are you going to apply
I'm
these
done
regulations?
talking with you. I'm going to be talking with Tyler because unfortunately, I think you're getting some bad legal advice here.
Oh, really?
Okay?
Wow.
And what I would urge you to do is get a lawyer
Okay, so
and
I was on the phone with a lawyer last night.
discuss that lawyer, that your rights and responsibilities with the lawyer. If your lawyer has any questions, feel free for that lawyer to contact. If you want to contact our lawyer as well, feel free to contact our lawyer so you have the right information.
But you're still
Because-
not dealing with exemptions.
Because I would hate
At all.
for you to run into difficulties.
Is that
At the end of
is that
the
a
day-
threat?
So you
Is that
guys are
threatening?
not stopping.
At the end
You're
of the
not
day,
stopping. Like, what part don't you understand? I can't wear a mask.
Are you threatening a man with a disability? Is that a veiled threat?
I'm not threatening any. You know what, sir? I'm finished talking with you, I said. Okay?
Yeah, well, I'm just talking with you.
Okay, so what options do you have?
So, if we're gonna be able to move forward, my suggestion would be if there was a mask that you could wear that's not right on your face.
Is mask
My,
exempt?
my,
Mask exemption?
the information that I've been informed that you were a firefighter before?
Yes.
Okay, so is there any device that you can wear to
I'm
protect
not
yourself?
wearing an SCBA. Come on.
I'm just asking.
I can't wear an SCBA.
Okay.
Like that's
So is
like
there-
you're talking like a full SCBA with the air tank.
No, not necessarily with an air tank, but you could have one with a cartridge filler.
That's-
So
How
if
am I
you
supposed to
have,
tattoo people if I don't get in contact.
well, if you have other tattoo artists that are able to do the tattooing,
So
then-
you're telling me to quit. You're telling me to give up what I love.
So mask
But if he has an
exemptions
employee,
work for
You're telling me to
some.
give up
Employees
what I
are
love doing.
exempt.
I've been doing this for 14 years, and you're telling me that I gotta quit.
well, it's not for you to quit. It's in the interim until this regulation gets either amended or.
The truckers are on their way to Ontario or
You
Ottawa.
realise that BC has dropped all regulations, Alberta's
So
dropped
has
all
England.
regulations.
UK,
Yeah.
Ireland,
You-
Scotland.
Yeah, I am.
Can I just
Yeah,
intercede
well,
here a
then-
minute?
Sure.
I'm retired 20 years as a paramedic. I didn't wear that little stupid piece of cloth on my face, all that sort of stuff, because it doesn't do anything.
No, it does nothing.
A COVID virus particle is about 10 times smaller than a smoke particle. If you can smell smoke through that, it has no chance of stopping anything. It's just theatre. Now, I wore N95s, and it says right on the N95 box, it will not stop a virus particle. Read the box. So it's not doing anything. So he has a valid medical exemption,
Yeah.
which should be honoured because he is a self-employed person, and that laws apply to everybody equally, and it applies to him the same. He's exempt, and that's the
And
top
that's the
bottom
end
of
of
it,
it,
Richard.
yeah.
We don't want to argue with anybody. It's just an exemption.
Until
and it
you
has
cross
to be
that
honoured.
foundational bar, you have nothing to say. You've got to cross that foundational bar. Ty has an exemption, period.
Yeah.
He has a medical
So do
exemption,
I.
period, and he doesn't have to tell you what it is. He did out of courtesy, but he doesn't have to tell you what it is.
That's right.
Okay, you're out of your depth, and these regulations are going to turn so fast your head will spin, and you watch what happens. You think they're not going to backdoor you, Richard? You think they're not going to back? You're standing here like an idiot. You think they're not going to backdoor you? See, well, you had a choice. That's why the exemptions are in there. Because if you have any lung difficulties from the mask, they'll say, well, you had a choice, you had an exemption. So we're going to enforce this exemption, and unless you could jump over that little bar, nothing that you say has any meaning whatsoever, Richard. I hate to tell you that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, that's your choice.
That's the law.
We have to,
That's the law, it's not a
we have to
choice.
follow the regulations, and we have to enforce the regulations.
is this
as
not
they
one
Can
of
I
are.
ask
It's
a
not one of the
question,
regulations.
Richard? Can I ask a question? Just very calmly. But you weren't attacked or caused when you came in here. We've been very calm and very quiet, okay? We're here for my brother, okay? Okay? But if we go back to the end of the Second World War, and when the Nuremberg trials came in, and the Nuremberg Code, okay? This is where this is going, okay? Because this is collapsing. It's collapsed in the UK, it's collapsed in Ireland, it's collapsed in Scotland, and they're removing all mandates, passports, masks, and everything. Now, the thing that's going to happen is there's going to be accountability. There's going to be accountability because the people that you are working for, or your superiors, okay, you're the guinea pig for them.
Yeah.
But trust me, we are going to have accountability when all this is over, and it's going to be over very soon.
And you
There's
guys-
over 50,000 trucks heading to Ottawa. We have groups in every community around here. We're meeting privately. There are thousands of people in the Port of the Lakes who are in part of our communities, freedom communities, okay? We would love to work with you, but we also want to make sure each and every one of you are aware that there is going to be accountability under this. There is going to be accountability. We are not going to bow down. What has happened with our corrupt corporation of a government we call Canada, it's a corporation, okay? They're unlawful and they're legal. You can go by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, that's another worthless document, but it does have protections for Tyler in there.
And
okay?
the Bill of Rights.
And the Bill of Rights. But that's all going to change in the very near future.
And it was established at Nuremberg that just doing your job is not an excuse.
Yeah.
You're promoting this,
Yeah.
okay? You can't say, I was just doing my job. You will be held accountable for this.
It's reasonable arguments that have been passed here, and it is really about exemptions. It's not about the bubonic plague. Even so, that wouldn't even matter with a mask either. This is about reasonable exceptions that the law has put in place. That Rocco Galati, as a lawyer, made sure that these were put in place to protect people, and that's what this my friend here is representing. That there are legal reasons for an employee, employer, or anybody else to be exempt, and that's all that we're asking, Richard. We're not asking anything above that. I mean, it was done. Rocco Galante did this for the reason, because when the blanket protection came out for everybody, whoa, hold on here a minute. There's got to be exemptions, and the exemptions we see right here, right? We have medical exemptions, which
nobody has
So
to know.
unless you can cross that threshold of exemption, I guess we're done.
So, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you guys today. The only thing that I can say is, until that regulation gets repealed, and we're in the same space where maybe Great Britain is, or another jurisdiction, the laws that are in place are the laws of Ontario right now.
So the laws do not care about anyone's mental health well-being.
So
So that's what I'm
That's very sad
learning.
for the.
That's what I'm learning right now. Is that it doesn't matter what I went through in my life to you know, I can't wear one. So now basically what I'm hearing is I'm almost forced to close my doors. 14 years tattooing, 6 years in this town working here, employing people. I have 2 children. Brandon has 3 kids. I donate to Santa Day, the curling club, hockey, golf. I donate all up and down this freaking town. I pour money into this Fenland Falls. I love Fenland Falls. And what you're telling me is basically, if I can't strap something to my face because I can't do it. Like, I don't even want to go into it. It's just, I can't.
And I understand. And if you can't do it,
So as a human being, do you see where I'm coming from? Do you see the unfairness? Like, now I'm not talking to you as a health and unit person, okay? I'm talking to you as a human being. A
So-
Canadian. One Canadian to another Canadian.
So Ty,
Do you
I
see how
feel
this is
for
unfair?
you, and I feel for all of the businesses that are in here, okay? At the end of the day, we are still in the middle of a pandemic.
There is.
Really?
Can you prove that?
Really?
Where's your evidence?
Where's your evidence?
How many
There's a
people are
pandemic.
dying?
I'm not gonna get into whether or not you believe in a pandemic
see,
or not, but the whole, let me just finish. The whole reason why the laws have been changed and implemented under the Emergency Civil Protection Act is because we are in the middle of a pandemic.
And that's
Maybe
not-
we're at
and
the
that's
tail
not
end
a
of.
law. That's not a law, you know. That's not a
Maybe
law.
we're at the tail end of things, and I pray to God that it gets passed, we get past this sooner the better. And the other thing that I wanted to say is I reviewed your file, and you are a great business.
Thank
So
you.
so
I
for the
try
last
hard.
yeah, and initially that's the reason why the girls came in, and I was going to have a conversation with you on how we can.
I almost just couldn't
So-
come in here today, and that's why I asked my family to be
So,
here.
like, as for you operating a tattoo body piercing place, you are an excellent business, right?
Thank you.
So I wanted to make sure that you understand.
Well, I appreciate that very much, because we try very hard to keep the community healthy. No bloodborne pathogens, no hepatitis, none of that. I tattoo my family here. I tattoo my family here, and my wife and everybody. So I mean, it's important to me that no one leaves here with nothing else than an awesome tattoo. You know what I mean? So I'm just asking you, as a good human being, as a good Canadian, just to maybe treat this one situation as a unique situation, and maybe just
Move
say
on.
everything's cool.
Yeah.
And then just,
Well, you talk about cherry picking. You jumped over the exemption, and you pretend.
I was getting to that, but before you can get to a section of a regulation, you have to look at the act, then the regulation, and then you move through the regulation, the applicable parts till you get to the exemption.
But if you're
You
exempt,
can't-
how does it apply?
You
If you're
can't,
exempt, how
because
does
the
it apply?
exemption doesn't apply to everybody.
Sure.
And the section, and the sections in there that I highlighted, that you jumped over, are the sections that apply to businesses. Specifically, the other section under Schedule 2, I highlighted as stuff that applies to personal care facilities, right? So, and that's why I'm saying, I want to work with you. I want to come up with an
I would
idea.
love to invite you guys in to do a normal health and safety inspection.
That's what today was supposed to be, with the conversation for us.
I just have a very hard time, honestly, like, I have a very small family, like, it's just my mom, my wife, and my kids, and these people I look at like they're my blood. And thank you so much, guys. I need them. Okay, like, I need every single one of them here right now.
So just explain to me again. G has a medical condition that inhibits their ability to wear a mask or face covering. Where does it say the owner? Where does it say? It just says if somebody has
So
a
Michael,
medical exemption,
it was
then
Michael,
they're
right?
then they're exempt.
Your name was Michael, right?
Sorry, Richard, sorry.
No, what was your name?
Steve.
Oh, sorry, called you Michael like 3 times. I apologize for that. So what I will say is, if you guys want a legal opinion on it, I'd be happy for you to talk to our legal.
Well, your legal's going to support your position.
Well,
but,
it's our legal.
I talked to a lawyer last night.
Okay, so maybe have your
And
lawyer
so
talk
I'll
to
tell
our
you
lawyer.
honestly what he said. He said, if you guys come write me a ticket to wipe my ass with it. His exact words. Because it won't stand in court.
No, they're ripping them off.
That's exactly what he
yeah.
told me.
Well, here's,
He even said
and I don't want to kind of highlight the enforcement strategies or what enforcement is. In what I highlighted in those 2 pages, it does state that if there's continued non-compliance, the authority, whether it be police, a health unit, or bylaw, or whoever is enforcing the act, can apply to the Court of Queen's bench for a court exemption or a court order. What that means is, if the court orders you to do something, you must do it or you go to jail, potentially.
well, the Queen's Court is the
Right.
People's
Oh my
Court.
God,
The
could you
Superior
imagine
Court and the Queen's
putting
Court
somebody-
is the People's Court.
So,
But you can't override an
be
exemption.
happy doing that? Which, like, that you talk to somebody who's admitted to that I have a medical exemption, and you're gonna keep going forward with the regulations to the point where, like you just admitted, I could go to jail. Could you sleep at night like that?
It's a threat.
Could
Yeah,
you
I'm
seriously
that's
sleep
what's
at
written
night?
in the act.
You just threatened this man with a medical exemption.
So I'm just, what
Like, could
I'm telling
could
you
you sleep
is,
with yourself at night? Like, do you have kids?
Somebody that
Okay,
told
so
me about PTSD.
can you imagine doing that to one of your children? Could you imagine someone like you, your kid grows up, opens up a shop, happy, has a wife, kids, and then one of you come in like that and then does that to your child?
So
Could you
Tyler-
imagine that?
Tyler, that doesn't happen immediately. So the first step, and what we do at HKPR, is we have a progressive enforcement policy, right? Our initial first step is to meet up with the operator and provide you with the information that you need to know.
Well, I
To
gave
make
you
sure-
some information.
To make sure that
I
you
can't-
understand what the requirements are, your legal requirements, okay?
They're not
If
legal.
there's-
But
if
Richard,
there's continued
Richard,
non-compliance-
Richard, no. I'm not letting this go on any further. Richard, he has a medical exemption, okay? The HKPR website has all of these exemptions on it. It's from your website with your words. Are you telling me these aren't on your website?
They are.
Well, then take them off. Take them off, because if you're not going to enforce these regulations along with the rest of them and the regulations in the document that you just presented, then just take them all off the website, because you either uphold all the regulations or you uphold none of the regulations. Tyler has an exemption. We are agreed on that, right? And this provides for an exemption. This document provides for an exemption. Are we correct?
So there is an exemption section.
There you go. I
for-
rest my case,
Right.
Richard.
Let me just read the exemption out. The person responsible for a business or organisation that is open shall ensure that any person in the indoor area of the premises of the business or organisation or in the vehicle that is operated as part of the business or organisation wears a mask or face covering in a manner that covers the mouth, nose and chin during any period when they're in the indoor area, unless the person in the indoor area G has a medical condition that inhibits the ability to wear a mask or face covering. That's the end of the conversation, Richard. I understand you have a job to do, but we also Tyler's family, and we're here to protect him too.
Fair enough.
And I also want to have, before you leave, I'd like to have a discussion with you about that mask on a one-to-one basis. I just want to educate you a little bit on it.
He probably has to wear it for his job.
Yeah, but I just want to educate you on it a little bit. I want to give you a little bit more information on it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Richard, for your time. I know you were late, but we will forgive you for that. But now Tyler has an appointment, and I think you have a nursing home to take care of, don't you? All the nursing homes that you ignored for over 10 years, and
You know, I don't appreciate the condescending attitude of-
please, Richard, we're done. And don't threaten us anymore.
Oh, it's not
Have a
a
nice
threat.
day.
It's not a threat.
Have a
Are we done,
nice
Tyler?
day.
I don't know.
Is this gentleman speaking on your behalf?
He's there.
Because if we're gonna end it this way, it's not gonna be as easy as you think it's ending.
Well, we know where we know.
Even if
We
you
already know what's
Because-
happening.
Because I was trying to
trying
explain
be-
to you,
I'm trying to be peaceful. I'm.
and I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, you have an individual here that's extremely condescending, and I think he's giving you some wrong information.
No,
When
he's had
you-
advice from two people. I just read the regulations you came forward with, Richard, and it clearly states, I just read them just right now.
Did you read
I read the whole
states?
thing, and I read the exemptions.
Did
The
you
exemptions
read
were-
the sections that talk about his responsibility
The exemptions
under the
apply
Occupational
to
Health and
any-
Safety Act?
You have to understand that these regulations were put in place, and then Rocco Galati took them to court and added the medical exemptions for every person. It doesn't make the difference whether you're an airline pilot or whatever you are. If the exemption applies, it applies, and that's all we're saying, Richard. The exemption applies to.
And you keep talking in circles, you keep going back over the same thing, and we're just saying, listen, prove that this exemption, clause G, doesn't apply.
So here's where we're gonna end today's conversation. Okay? I came in here willing to work with you to see if we can come up with some strategies. Other than you indicating that you're willing to put some sign in the door stating that anybody that's entering is entering under their own risk, I can't accept that.
So you
That's-
don't accept exemptions?
That does not comply with the requirements of the regulation.
See, now you're saying you're trying to work with me here, right? But you're not. All you
No.
care about is the regulation, and you're not. It's like you're gonna keep pushing and pushing until
Yeah.
I'm being forced against my will to wear one. And then you even went as far as saying that if it doesn't happen, that I'm gonna be arrested.
Yeah, you're
And put in jail.
overriding these
Like
exemptions.
this is wild, man. Like, is this not
This is
Canada?
under duress, this is under
So,
duress.
Like, okay, I get Steve is getting a little worked up, but he cares about me, and I see where he's coming from, and I love all these people around me, okay? And I even wish the best for you.
Yeah,
I
of
wish the
course
best
you
for
do.
everybody,
Yeah, of
okay?
course
I
you
don't
do.
want anyone to be, like, I just want the best for everyone,
Yeah,
honestly.
exactly.
And I just would love if you guys just treated this as like a unique situation where you met a business owner who you admitted that I have a stellar reputation, and just let it slide, man. Just let it, like, you won't get complaints from me. I promise that.
You don't have to, it has an exemption.
Which I still asked under
An
the Freedom of
exemption as well.
Information Act to find out who complained. And I still am waiting for it. I filled out the paperwork, I paid the money to have it filed properly, and I still haven't gotten an answer yet. So who complained? Because I'm also going through a court case right now because of a shitty landlord who stole everything from me. He put boards on my doors, he sold the building, and stole every piece of everything that I have. And he stole it from me. So I know, I could almost bet money on it, it's him that's calling the health unit for any reason that he can. This is just a malicious attack against my business. He doesn't plan on stepping foot in here at all. He just wants me to fail. He just wants to destroy my business. And now I'm waiting for that. I asked nice, I filled out the paper, I can even give it to you in person if you want. I scanned
No,
it.
I send it off to our HR
Okay,
department.
good.
So
Good.
Angela Vickery is the director
Thank
of
you.
HR. and she's the one that's
Because
that's
that
really-
will be used against him in court, because that's just a malicious attack against me anyways. And I do have an exemption, so, and that's none of his business, but he thinks it is.
Nobody's
And all I'm getting out of you right now is regulation, regulation, regulation. And it's like, okay, well, what if I was like disabled? Like, would you still punch a regulation of somebody's like, get up out of the wheelchair? You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not fair. You have to treat every situation unique to the individual. And that's fair.
Yeah, that's
what
Are you
regulation
saying,
here
Richard,
for.
that regulation G does not apply? Are you just skipped over that regulation?
Steve, we're not talking right now, I'm talking with.
But it's a
I'm just-
regulation.
I'm just trying to find the human being
So
inside of you.
looking at the regulation, and unfortunately, I have to
Why do
enforce,
you gotta be a robot?
I have to enforce the regulations as written.
Well, yeah, we're asking you to enforce the
Let me just say that. As an officer of the law, when he's out on duty, has what's called discretion, and it's his discretion to use that, right? Ask any OPB officer or any city police. This is what they have. They have discretion and discretionary powers, and I'm sure, Richard, that you also have that status in your capacity. So that's what we're asking you to look at, a discretionary power to look at this and say that this person here cannot wear a mask, and as such, discretionary. I'm going to let that be okay. You've gone through, we've discussed it at length. So that's what we're asking, right?
So with respect to the discretion, and that's what I was getting to, if there's a way that you can identify how you can work while still meeting the requirements of the regulation without wearing a mask, then I'm all ears. Or can you wear a mask that's not stuck on your face, but is more of a, provides you a little more space in there. And that's what I was here to do. The other option I suggested was maybe for the time being, until the COVID regulation gets rescinded, you have the other artists working and you work in the administration part of your business.
So you're telling me to like stop doing what I love?
Well, I'm trying to come up with options for you to be able to still
Well,
run
how
a
about
business.
you give him some of your paycheck to make up for his lost business? Because you haven't lost a paycheck since this started, have you? You're shutting businesses down, and you have not lost a paycheck in all of this.
I don't.
You haven't even had a diminishment of pay. You haven't lost any benefits. You haven't lost any vacation. No vacation.
I've been
You
shut down
have
4 times.
everything all through the last 700 days, and you've been going out shutting business down. And then you play the 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100 game, where you just jump over the exemption and pretend that doesn't mean anything. But all of these other regulations you're going to uphold.
So-
now, I want you to explain on the
Can I
camera.
please
I want you
see-
to, no, I want you to explain on the camera for everybody why you're skipping over the exemption clause and just focusing on all of the rest of them. You look in the camera and tell the public how you're doing your job, because this is going to go to court.
Well,
Okay, you are skipping
I
over-
think if this continues, this is going to go to court.
Don't
I think you're right.
threaten.
No.
Don't threaten
You're the
us.
one that brought it up. You're the one that is suggesting that we should be going to court.
Put your hand down, please.
I don't
It's an
want
open
to go
gesture.
that
I'm
way.
not threatening in any manner.
Well,
okay?
I don't know that, so just keep your hands
well,
down.
I can tell you. So
I
I'm just
really don't
telling
want to
you
go
that
there.
if that's the way that you guys want to go, if you do want to go to court, I can
You
I
need
can oblige you.
to explain this exemption.
I don't need to explain anything to you anymore, Steve. I think we're done explaining.
You're
things.
public health, and we are part of the public, and you are
I-
blatantly ignoring your own
I'm not
regulations.
ignoring
And then
anything.
you're telling me that I don't have a right to say something here?
I think we're going in circles.
Yes, you have to go in circles.
You're speaking your 2 lines that you've had trained before you came here, and unfortunately you're not willing to listen. So if you don't want to hear from me, what I suggested is speak to a lawyer, have your lawyer speak with our lawyer. The other thing is every single one of you guys that's without a mask right now could be charged with an $880
Have an
fine.
exemption.
I am exempt.
Everybody has an exemption.
I am.
You're
You're not
threatening
asking me
right
why
now.
either.
I heard what that threat came from, and I'm going to tell you straightforward right now. When this is all over and done with, and my brother's already said this, there will not just be going back to normality. There will be investigations about who went over the line and for what reasons for it. So I just want to let you guys know that this is not going to get squashed away. When this all collapses, and it's collapsing across the world at the moment, there will be consequences for that. There's Reinhard Fulmek has a team of 1,000 lawyers looking into this right now. So we will be looking at people. And this is not a threat like you just made to me.
Yeah,
this
you
is
threatened
fact.
me too.
It's not a threat.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's not a
Yes, it
threat.
is.
Video making a threat to
It's
the
a fact that right now, you guys are, all of you guys are not in compliance with the regulations.
Because I'm exempt, and it's none of your
Let
business
me go to
why.
medical for a minute. Let me just go into medical here. That mask on your face, how long have you been wearing it now?
I put it on just before I got
And
in.
was it brand new?
It was clean just before I
And was it in the car? Let me tell you what's happening. As the body exposes, you probably know this from the health unit, as the body exposes out oxygen and waste byproducts.
I have additional masks in my.
Yeah, so it coats the inside. Your body keeps rebreathing that. And what happens is, if you go back to 1918, with the Spanish flu, most people died of what's called bacterial pneumonia for continual wearing daily masks. It has an effect on your body. Your oxygen level will go down below a record 92%. And your CO2 levels will go up. So I just want to pass that on to you. And I know from a health use, you guys have probably already looked into it. But continued mask wearing is not good for anybody's health. Your body's designed to in through the nose, filter, and out through the mouth. That's what it is. But for 2 years now, you guys have been forced to do this. So it's not having a good effect.
So
I'm trying to help you here, right?
Thank you for the information. I think we're not getting anywhere right now. So
You're not helping me.
Tyler,
I thought you came here to help me with some other options.
well, I presented some options.
The option, all I got was comply or go to jail almost. Do you feel good about yourself? Do
Tyler,
you sing the national anthem? Have you ever sang "O Canada"?
Tyler, it's
Have
not about
you-
me
please,
singing
no.
national anthem. It's not about
Have you ever
me
sang
feeling
"O
good or
Canada"?
not. Yes, I did.
Okay, do you believe the words "stand on guard for thee"? This is
Tyler, my son
land
serves
of
in the
the
army, in the Navy. My son puts his life. He could be called up right now to go to Ukraine.
good.
No, he couldn't.
Okay.
I
So
respect that.
like, I know.
My
I know-
grandfather was a prisoner of war.
So was mine.
Good. So why are we
It's not
doing
good.
this?
It's not good.
No, but why are we doing this? We're on the same team. We
It's
should have
not
the
good.
same
And then, like,
understanding about
what I'm
that
trying to-
freedom is at
Tyler,
risk here.
What I'm trying to tell you is, I'm not here busting your chops.
You definitely are.
What I'm here to
Okay,
do
no.
is, first of all, I'm employed by the HKPR Health Unit.
And so
I'm
you
required-
know how this government is
I'm
ruining our
required.
lives.
I'm required to enforce the
I would
regulations.
quit
as
if I were you. I
Well,
would quit.
unfortunately, I'm
You'd be
not
able to
gonna
hold
quit.
your head up.
Why can't
So
you
you're
quit?
just doing your job? Is that what you're saying? You're just doing your
Why
job?
can't you quit?
Okay.
I can, but I'm not going
No,
to.
why? Because you have bills, you have kids, you have. So
Yeah,
why?
exactly.
I believe in
So
what I
what?
do.
No, you really
Firing,
do.
Yes.
closing people's businesses,
Well,
you believe in
That's
that?
one part of what public health
And
does.
not honoring the exemption?
Not
Enforcement of regulations is one small part of
Yeah,
things that we
and
do.
that's good. The food industry and the rest of it's good. We understand what you're doing, Richard. We're just saying that to us it seems pretty clear that there is an exemption. We wouldn't be arguing this point if you didn't understand it fully. And that exemption applies to every human being, whether they're on that side or on this side. And that's all it is. And we're just asking you as a discretionary person to actually look at that and say,
You have the
yeah,
power to
that's
do
true. You have the.
You do.
Are you saying that
Who's
doesn't
gonna-
apply,
okay,
Richard?
Who's going to come down on you?
Are you
it's a-
saying that the exemption doesn't apply?
What I'm saying is, and we're gonna end it here because obviously we're going in circles and we're not gonna get anywhere.
I'm just trying to be like.
Here's
a freaking
where
good
we're.
Canadian, and I'm just trying to be.
Tyler, here's where I'm
You
gonna
might
end.
want to move.
We have a couple options. Okay. One option is if you want to operate, you can operate until the COVID regulations get either amended or repealed. You can operate in an administrative fashion where you're not in facing face to face with 2 meters of an individual, or an unmasked individual. Everything else in here, based on what the inspectors were telling me, you're in compliance. You have a COVID safety plan. You have your appointment only, you're keeping track
I
of
did appointment
individuals.
only before that was a rule.
And that's great.
I'm trying to be
So-
on top of things.
So that's good. So we're 99% there. So we have one item that if we can come to some sort of consensus, we're good. So for the time being, if you can have some of your other tattoo artists
I don't know what, they don't get this exemption, do
face-to-face kind
they?
of tattooing,
He can't wear one.
that then meets the conditions and the requirements of the regulation.
Yeah,
And that would be a temporary measure until this bloody thing gets repealed. But
Richard,
until then,
we're getting a little tired of how disingenuous this is. You keep quoting
He's
regulations,
exempt.
and you keep skipping over Regulation G, the medical exemption.
regulation, it's not a
Look,
regulation.
you're the one going in circles. You accuse me of my 2 lines that I want to get in and I've practiced overnight. No, I haven't practiced overnight. I know them all by heart,
It's
but I have a
exempt.
business, okay? And you are ignoring the regulations. You are cherry picking the regulations, and you are deciding that you are only going to enforce some regulations over others to the detriment
It's
of
not,
an honest businessman.
it's not one regulation.
You don't
it's
even,
all in one
you don't even
regulation.
accept though that I'm exempt. Just
Then why
because you
is
see
it
me not
different?
wearing a mask, you say, oh, you could get into trouble, you could get
Yeah,
fined.
that's what
I'm
I said.
exempt.
Yeah.
You actually said that to
Yeah, I
me,
did.
a member of the public, and I do not have to tell you what my exemption is.
No, that's not.
But
that's
you're not accepting anybody's exemptions, nobody's. It means nothing. Zip to you, actually.
It's a little bit interesting that everybody in one business is exempt.
Well, we
not
don't
part
work
of
for you.
this.
We're not part of this.
No,
we don't live
You're
here.
here helping me because
Whether,
honestly,
whether it's you guys in the front
I
here
could have
or
been
your
raped
tattoo
for all
artists,
you know. I
everybody,
can't wear a
everybody
mask.
that came out, we're not wearing
this
masks.
is about freedom. This is
Okay, so it's not about exemption, it's about freedom.
well, I have the
It's about
exemption.
exemption.
Freedom exemption.
I have an
This is about a
exemption.
free country.
I have an exemption.
You said your son's in the Navy. What's he fighting for? Freedom, right? A free country. That's what my grandfather fought for. That's what you said your parents, your grandfather fought for too. How come you don't fight for freedom?
Oh, I do.
No, you're
Like
not.
this?
If I can,
No.
if I
We're
can
just
say one
fighting for
thing, if I can
freedom.
say one
We're-
thing calmly, your son's fighting, right, for freedom. My grandfather and great grandfather fought for freedom, and what we see in Canada right now is
You
tyranny.
taking the freedom
Tyranny.
away.
It's communism.
Yeah.
And your family comes from what country? Probably a communist country. This is what's coming to Canada. It's coming to Canada now. This pandemic, and it is just a vessel to collapse small business, to collapse our economy.
Do you not see
right?
how that's like,
it's
I
it's
can't
collapsing
comply?
around us right now. And you have a job. Glad you have a job. But what you're doing, you're on the wrong team. You're on the communist side. You are on the communist side, and you truly are. And this is going to collapse because the world is rising. You may not see it on your mainstream media. Do you know who controls the mainstream media? 6 global media companies. Do you know who's making money through all this? Oh, how about Fauci? How about Bill Gates? All these individuals that have been playing with this whole
Pfizer.
pandemic. Who's funding it all? Who's funding it all? You can find that out on the internet. I have 1,000 hours of video that I've researched myself, and that's how I come to my conclusions that this is all a charade, and it's only here to collapse our economies,
Yeah.
small business, mental health issues are going through.
Yeah.
There's more people dying of suicide than any type of a
Yeah,
COVID
and where's
virus,
the
Can
flu?
you,
which is an
there's a
annual
topic I'd
cold or
like to
flu.
touch on. I asked them
The flu.
when
Let's
they were
talk
here
about the
last.
flu. Where's it going?
Why do you guys have a disclaimer
For what?
for mask exemptions and even hand sanitizer?
I don't understand what do you mean for.
So if someone comes in here, uses the hand sanitizer, gets a wicked rash, and tries to sue me as a business, and I say, hey, health unit told me I have to, well then I turn around and I try to sue you. You guys have a disclaimer against that. I cannot sue you for that. You guys could force me to have that there, but I have no legal rights to take action against you because someone had a wicked bad reaction to that.
Okay,
Why is that?
so,
I've read I've all over your website too.
okay.
So how come there's a disclaimer on that?
So-
There's even a disclaimer on masks as well. If someone is forced in this building to wear a mask and it has a physical or psychological reaction to it, and they come after me and try to sue me for it, and then I say, well, health unit told me to. So then I take that lawsuit and I bring it to you. You guys have a disclaimer against that, so I cannot touch you guys for that. You're allowed to force me to have that there, but I'm not allowed to come and attack you guys or legal recourse because of any kind of action against me. Why is that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, good. Well, you're the one who's doing
Come
it,
on,
Richard.
how
Tell
do
us.
I know
Tell
this?
us.
But
How do I know this about your job? But you're the manager. You obviously should have more experience than both of them and me. How do I know more about your job?
disclaimers, I tell you the truth, I haven't.
Okay, so now I'm trying to be super peaceful and respectful to you. Can you please look into that for me and explain that one to me?
Sure.
I would love to hear your explanation of why the Kawartha Lakes Health Unit has disclaimers on all of those. I'm just curious. I'm so curious.
I'll look into that.
I would love to hear a good explanation for that too. Because did you know that not one hand sanitizer has been passed by the FDA? Not one. Not one single bottle at all. And it's like, why?
But they tell you to wear a mask, and they think they're so convinced that this mask.
No,
helps.
I'm just trying to,
Keeps
I'm
this
just trying
virus
to
away.
learn. I just want to learn.
So Tyler, I do have to go, but I'm gonna leave it at
What's your name?
the last
Shelby.
thing.
Phoebe.
Shelby.
In order for us to move forward, and in order for us to be able to move in a way where we don't have to escalate things.
I really, honestly,
And I don't want to.
I know it didn't go the way you were hoping. It didn't go the way I was hoping either, but honestly, I really do want the most peaceful resolution. The PTSD has already gone through the roof in my head. And so I really don't want any more.
So what I can
agitations.
tell you, I'll have a chat with our legal.
Okay.
You have a chat with your legal.
Who told me to wipe my butt?
Okay.
Quote unquote. He said, "Wipe your ass
Fair
and
enough.
take it."
Well, I think you have some questions to
Hang
answer.
on.
Yeah, no, you have some questions to answer first. You got why there is a disclaimer on these products and what happened to
So,
Taurus Sheet medical
can I tell
exemption.
I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk
Okay.
to Steve right
No,
now.
I'm hearing you.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to my legal to see about what else we could do and what other options there are. I'll touch base with all of my colleagues
Okay.
to see what other options they may suggest.
I don't mind even like a plethora of paperwork if
That's not going to work.
see like that's what I mean. But like so
Paperwork doesn't work.
you're asking me for options and I'm saying signs on the door. I don't even mind getting a waiver specifically for my clients to say I understand my tattoo artist has a mask exemption. I'm okay with it. Like how come like that's not
That's a good compromise, really. It's a common sense compromise.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
Common
the
sense.
person, and if they don't want to come here, I'm fine with that. Like I'm going to lose business, but
Unfortunately,
I'm okay with it.
I can't promote something that's in contravention with the regulation. Do you understand that, Maria? At least?
I'm not really.
Whether you
understanding.
agree with the regulations or not.
I don't understand.
Okay.
So we
I
just
really
have to
don't.
So
agree with everything.
whether you or I or whoever here agrees with the regulation is not really relevant because those are the regulations that are written and that's how they're written. So that's
So
how they
if to
have.
say
does
go
that
and jump
pertain
off
to
a
the
bridge, you're going to
exemption?
do it.
How does all that pertain to the exemption? So we got to go back to the exemption part, and Tyler is exempt.
Richard doesn't want to
He's
explain that.
So if Tyler is exempt, then fair enough. He doesn't wear a mask, but he can't do the tasks that are required for a tattoo artist.
So the
And that's why I
government's
said.
firing me from my own business.
That's why I said, if you can operate in the business in a different capacity, then you can still work, and I'm okay with that. But you can't be in an area where there's other individuals, especially if any of them are going to be not unmasked, right? So that's the only thing that I can.
So
I
okay,
can
how
say.
about we switch? Okay, so my clients have mask exemptions. I'm legally allowed to honor it, right? So if someone comes in and says I have claustrophobia, I'm not allowed to ask them, and I'm allowed. So now, what if I'm a little bit more strict, and my clients have to wear the mask, and,
No, but they're
and we almost trade. Like, I have the exemption, but I force regulations on my client more. Would that be something fair?
So that's what you
Like,
should
so
be doing.
one of us is wearing a mask regardless, right? Like, what if, and let's say a client comes in and says, I have a mask exemption, I really can't wear it, then I sub that one out to my other artist. That way, because he wears a mask if need be, he'll wear one. So my client could, I'll trade clients. He could have the mask exemption one, I won't. The people who have the masks and don't mind wearing them, I will enforce that more, because now they have a mask and I don't. So that way at least someone's wearing a mask in this room. Would that be fair?
I think that's a good proposal. Unfortunately, I don't think that meets the criteria under the
But why is that
section.
not fair?
It's not that it's not fair. It's the fact that
But, like-
you need to protect
So, you know,
yourself.
like, we're here supposed to be discussing options, and I think that's a brilliant option. Like, because someone is in that room wearing a mask, like, at all times. And it's not going to be me, and I'll just refuse anybody who has an exemption. I'll pass it off to my other artist or another shop.
Yeah,
The art
they-
of true management is
They do.
is to understand the issue and to find a solution for it. It's not hard and fast rules have to be applied. It's discretionary, and as I said, the powers of many officers are discretionary. So he's come up. That's a good plan, actually.
Well, and I mean, I don't mind. Like, I'm already losing business because of this freaking COVID stuff. I've been shut down 4 times. So, I mean, I'm still playing catch up. Plus, I have a court case going on. So, as you can see, my shop is very empty because every single thing that I owned was stolen from me. So, I'm still fighting with that. That's why I said, please, as a good person, treat this situation uniquely. Like, this is just one out of a million situation that you'll ever get into. I'm sure, like, all the other tattoo shops in the area probably comply, no problem. Right? Right. Yeah, okay, so, I mean, just please. Like, I'm trying to give you options here. The sign on the door, more waivers. I will stop anyone that I tattoo from being maskless. And it would just be like, okay, well, sorry, if you want me to tattoo you, you must wear a mask because we both can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't know why that's not
That's a
fair.
good compromise.
I think that's a good option. Unfortunately, that's not how the
It's just not your
regulations-
option, right?
It's not even my option.
You
It's
only
not-
like your
it's not the
options
way
and you don't like
that-
anyone else's
But you gotta
options.
admit, I'm trying here, man. I'm trying.
And I thank you for that.
I'm like, because I don't want anyone leaving here, like, feeling sour about what happened here today. And honestly, like, these are, I know you came in and you might have felt attacked, but, like, I need these people around me. Like, so much. And it's just like, just help me out here, man. Just help me out this one time.
Yeah,
Just-
try and he needs to, he wants his business open. He doesn't want to close.
And could we establish that
He
you're
has
going
a
to promise to get
family.
back to Tyler and answer his questions about Regulation G, the exemption, and the disclaimers on the hand sanitizer and the mask?
There's my kids, man. That's what I'm working for. I'm a family.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I'm a family man. So, like,
Like I said, you got a good business going. I want to see you succeed. There is regulations that I have to enforce.
I want to be able to cross you on the street one day and actually wave at you and shake your hand and be friends with you. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be like, there's the guy that frickin' got me regulated out the ass and frickin' forced to close and handcuffs and possibly prison. I don't want that. I don't have any enemies around here. I used to be on the fire department for 10 years. I've seen the worst. My brothers that are paramedics, fire, they can contest. They know what we have been through. Fire departments, you don't see nasty, like, you don't see anything nastier than a car accident. It's you know what I mean? It's real, and I just, like, we just gotta be good Canadians at the end of the day, man. And that's it. That's all I ask for. That's it. I don't know. I'd like to maybe, I know you want to get going, and I just want to leave it at that. Like, can we just be good Canadians?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, until we get certain things clarified, would it be possible for you not to tattoo until we get further clarification.
So
Like I said, I'll reach out. I'll reach out to my
appointment that I have to cancel, I'm gonna judge how much it's worth, and then I'm gonna make a bill, and I'll send it to you.
Well, that's not going to go anywhere.
Listen, I don't understand how we're doing this backward, Richard. Look, you want him to comply until you check it out. It's up to you.
No.
It's up to you to prove these regulations, okay? It's not up to Tyler to do anything. You're the manager. You're the one in charge. You should know what's on your website. And we've asked you certain questions and you have not answered them.
I have answered.
No, you haven't. You just walked in circles and you kept... any option that wasn't your option was not workable. Any regulation that wasn't your regulation, you completely ignored regulation. You just skipped right over that because you know that it still applies. Okay? You cannot get around that, Richard. This is so foundational. Until you cross that bar, you have no jurisdiction whatsoever.
Okay, well, we'll see about that.
Okay, we will.
I don't know.
So-
I feel like I've tried my best to
I
give you
appreciate-
some options.
I appreciate your willingness to meet with us. I will check with my colleagues to see if they have any other options. Is there any mask, or not even a mask, any apparatus that you could wear to protect you?
But that won't.
Is mask
mess up-
exempt?
That won't mess up.
I'm not
my
talking
work.
about a mask like this, but something that would prevent the spit molecules, things from escaping.
I know, like, there's those shields, but I mean, like,
That doesn't
I
stop
don't
anything.
know how to
No.
tattoo it.
It doesn't stop anything.
Neither
You know,
does the
like,
mask.
Richard, the mask that you're wearing right now, you are spewing out to me.
Yeah.
You're spewing out
So-
to
And I
me.
think they know.
I think we're done here.
Maybe please, like, I don't know. I would just ask you to treat this as a unique situation, and I could almost promise that you'll never hear from us again. I pray to God that the truckers are gonna have something done this Friday, and you guys are never gonna need to even talk about this ever again. I friggin' pray, and I just. I don't know how you guys are okay with telling me to stop doing what I love doing.
Yeah. In the meantime, until the regulations get changed, go through the regs. I'll leave a copy with you. Okay.
Fine.
This is regulation 263 on the 31st of January. They're going to change to regulation 364. That's the newest copy. Okay. It talks about all of the requirements that you need to comply with, and we'll have inspectors pop in. I will get back to you on the disclaimer for the sanitizer, and I'll get our legal department to clarify for Steve and for you how the exemptions apply and how they apply to operators themselves. Because this seems to be a sticking point, and unfortunately, I don't want you to get bad legal advice and you have to end up paying for it. Because at the end of the day, what we'll have to do is continue with our progressive enforcement, which starts with a warning and then progresses from there on. And I don't want to progress. I want to come up.
Like, at the end of the day, you really don't care.
I do care.
No.
I do care. That's why I'm saying
You really
that
don't.
I will
You
do
just
my
really
I will hold up my end of the bargain, and we'll try to see what other options are available. I want you to do the same. In the meantime, if you can
I
have.
gave you a lot of really
Keep
good
your door
options, I
locked,
think,
Tyler,
you know. I
is
think
what
I
I
gave you a
would
lot
say.
of really good
And
options.
I do appreciate that, and I will use the suggestions that you made when I speak with our legal to see what else we can do to have you in compliance with that one. Because everything else you're in compliance with.
I know, and that's why I'm saying, like, it's just one unique situation. And
A mask exemption.
I don't
It's
see
very
why.
unique.
So maybe
So we'll
can you
leave it
just-
at that
well,
for
can
now.
you just answer one question before you go? Because how is this being enforced? It says implementation of the policy will be enacted and enforced in a good faith and will be primarily used as a means to educate people on mask use in public spaces. No one should be denied service if they cannot wear a mask. Now, where does threatening people with going to jail, arrest, shutting down their business?
That's not threatening.
You just threatened
You did
all of
me.
us.
You threatened me.
He threatened all of us with arrest because we weren't wearing masks.
No, I
And
didn't
this is
threaten you
this
with
what you
arrest.
call good? Is this what you call good faith?
I informed
Is
you.
this good faith?
Okay, I'm not speaking with you, Steve, anymore, because obviously you're pulling information
Off your website.
off our website that's intended for clients, okay? And the whole idea of you can't, the last line, no one should be denied service. So businesses have the option to provide service in different ways. And that's where that came from. If you recall, when the whole mask mandate was initially brought in, there was businesses that said, okay, we want to comply, but there's people that can't wear masks or won't wear masks. So some businesses basically said, we're not going to let them in. And there was legal challenge on that. The legal response that came out was, as long as you provide service for those individuals in another way, they're meant, they comply with, those businesses comply with that statement. So for a grocery store, as long as they're able to provide a service through doing the shopping and delivering the goods to the individual, or the individual comes to the shop, gives a list of items that need to be purchased, the store owner has staff that do the shopping, bring it out, the person doesn't enter, that meets that criteria. Okay, so they are not denied service, they are served. It doesn't work in a facility like you have, because you can't not deny a service.
See, now I would understand if this was a brand new shop I just opened during COVID. I would get that, because now this is something that, like, hey, heads up, before you open, you can't, right? So now I almost feel like I deserve the right to be grandfathered in.
But there's no grandfather clause in the act, unfortunately.
So like there's no heart, there's no soul, there's no freedom, no
do
real
this or
Canadian.
close.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, do this
it's
or
do
close.
what we say,
Do
or
as
you can't
I
feed
say.
your kids. And now you're telling me to stop working because until you come up with something that I have to comply for.
Well, I don't have to come up with anything.
No, but basically,
Like,
so how am I going to feed the kids?
At the end of the day, I don't have to do anything.
Okay, give me an explanation then. So how do I pay my bills? How do I feed my kids?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question for you.
Okay, so then when you go home tonight and you're sitting with your family, do you like, oh hey honey, how was work? Well, I just ruined somebody's life today, and yeah, it was great. And I'm gonna keep checking on him until his life is completely ruined. Is that how those conversations go at your dinner table?
We don't have those conversations at our dinner table.
God,
Too busy watching TV.
I don't
like
watch
just
TV.
unreal.
Really?
Unreal.
Richard, I guess we can blame
It's just
ourselves.
unreal. Like honestly, I am so shocked.
I'm
and
sorry that
disappointed.
this is how it is. Unfortunately,
You could be like I
Unfortunately,
told them.
you-
You
like I
you
said-
have the option to be a good Canadian and just be like, you know what? Like you said, 99% is perfect. Just that one little minuscule thing. You could use your discretion, like he said, and just be like,
Discretion is power.
and just
Everybody's
use your
different.
powers. And then just say, you know what? Everything I saw here was amazing. He has 1% that I don't know what to do about, and I'm going to use my discretion and just let it slide. And you and me, when I see you on the streets, I'm going to be like, thank you, you're my friend, and I could shake your hand.
You just keep your door locked, Tyler. You don't let anybody
It's
in
just-
unless you want
And,
them
and,
in.
and just before you go, Rich, I just want to explain one thing, because you don't know the law, and you should go to legal. These are the interpretation. You can't reinterpret this line. This line is the interpretation done by legal for the HKPR website. Okay, you cannot reinterpret the interpretation and say, well, this means this. No, it doesn't. It means no one should be denied service if they cannot wear a mask. That's what it means. Pure and simple.
and I gave you an explanation of how
No, you said that you said that you are
I'm
redefining
the only one that's-
these regulations as you go along, and so
Sorry?
Oh, I don't know what you're speaking to me for. I got nothing to say to you, man. I don't have any respect for you or the shit that you're doing, so you don't have anything to say to me. I promise you that. I promise you that. So you have a nice day, And I hope I never see you again.
You might have done him out of a job as well, and maybe that makes you double happy.
Sorry?
You might have done him out of a job as well.
Oh no, that you won't do me out of a job because I don't care what you do. You can call the cops on me all you want, man. They arrest me, I'm just gonna tattoo in jail. I'll tattoo in jail, I'll tattoo at my house, or I'll tattoo out in the street. You ain't shutting me fucking down. So, best of luck to you.
Maybe
Best
try
of
like
luck
a
to you.
tattoo a mask on.
Richard, but you obviously with the accent, I mean, like me, I came from the UK here, you became a Canadian citizen.
We're just kind of going in circles in this way.
They just really don't
It
care.
doesn't matter where I
No, I
come
just
from.
wondered.
It doesn't matter. I'm a Canadian,
On the
and
personal.
I'm a proud Canadian,
Yeah, exactly.
and I always will be a proud
Yeah.
Canadian.
Well,
Like I
this-
said, my
You're in a room full of proud
Excuse me?
Canadians.
This is-
Steve?
You're a
we're
proud
standing-
Canadian?
We're standing. We're standing
Done
for
with
Canada. We're standing
We're
for
done.
Canada. Okay, now see you.
Take those off and get some fresh
Lock
air.
the door, Tyler.